a little tour of the neighborhood where we've been staying here in Chișinău. Welcome back everyone to Chișinău, Moldova. We're back here today in Chișinău for our last video actually here in Chișinău. Well, second to last video. There's a special one coming up next. But we're gonna do a little tour of the neighborhood where we've been staying here in Chișinău, show you exactly what it's like. And I think it's gonna be a good one because I really enjoyed this neighborhood. So come along. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you want to help out the channel and help it grow, I really would appreciate it. Click on the like button down there, the subscribe button, and the little bell next to it to be notified for when new videos drop. It really helps the channel grow because it's going to help the YouTube algorithm recognize this content and spread it to other YouTube viewers. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I would appreciate that as well. You can leave a super thanks by clicking this thanks button here and give a small donation to the channel. I appreciate your support. So back to the video, enjoy. This video is gonna serve a dual purpose because, well, I need to take the garbage out. So we'll take the trash out and give you a tour of the neighborhood where we've been staying. So where we've been staying is, I don't know the name of the neighborhood exactly. It's kind of centrally located. So it's kind of close to the center, to like Great National Assembly Square, where we've done some of our videos around that area. I would say maybe 15-minute walk. Not super close, but definitely not far enough that you'd have to take a taxi or anything like that. It is relatively close. It's like to the east of the center, so it's like relatively close to the Hotel National, which we featured in our video about the politics and the election here. Trash out. So it's pretty centrally located. It's nice. It's actually on a pretty major street, which we were just walking on to start the video. That street runs north-south and has its Strada Ismail, has a bus route on it, which is nice, or several bus routes I think. And we're at the corner of another street. I can't remember its name right now, but it's the east-west street that runs like into the center, and that street also has a bus route on it. So it's pretty nice, accessible for public transportation. Now there's no metro in Chișinău, which is a little strange, honestly. Like a lot of the, well, I mean, I've really only been to two so far, but the two post-Soviet countries that I've been to, Armenia and Georgia, their capitals, Tbilisi or Yerevan and Tbilisi, both have metros. So I was kind of a little surprised when there wasn't one here in Chișinău, although Chișinău is kind of small. It's a relatively small city, so they do have a pretty good bus system. They actually run trolley buses, which is really interesting. Trolley buses, as kind of a public transportation nerd, are pretty cool. They're buses that are electric, that run on electric cables above, like a trolley does. And these are things that, like, in the United States at least, they're almost completely gone. There are a couple of cities that still run trolley buses. San Francisco, I know, is one of them. I'm not sure which the other ones are. But there's really only a few, and in those cities, there are only like a limited number of lines that run those trolley buses. But, you know, it's like a much cleaner and more efficient way to run a bus. There's no pollution from the bus. And if you're getting your electricity from hopefully a clean and renewable source, then you're running a much greener public transportation system, which is nice. Also, other electric like electric buses that have batteries, you don't have to worry about a battery because you're just hooked to the grid by the overhead wires. The only thing that you really have to worry about is sometimes you may become detached from the cable, but that's usually a pretty easy fix. Just the bus driver just gets out and they have like a special pole that they use to reconnect the cables. Anyway, enough about trolley buses. There are trolley buses here in Chișinău, so it's nice. And getting to the center or other places in the city that you're going to take the bus to get to is it's pretty easy. The buses run pretty often. They're very cheap. They're very inexpensive. 6 lei, I believe, to get the bus, which is 40 cents USD. So very, very cheap. And there is no ticket system. There is no cards. They actually still run just on cash. You just pay 6 lei to the conductor on the bus. So there's a driver and a conductor. It's very similar to how they a lot of the buses, the private transportation buses work in Lima. We've talked about Lima's public transportation in a previous video, link in the description. But here, that's how the buses work. So it's a good thing to have exact change, honestly, because if you give them a 50 lei or something, they may not have change for you. So it's good to save your change when you're here in Chișinău if you're going to be riding the bus. But if you don't want to take the bus, you can definitely find taxis, take those around the neighborhood. You can take a Yandex Go, which is the Uber alternative. There have been a few different ones that we've encountered in different cities where Uber does not operate. Bolt is a European version. Yandex Go is a Russian version. Yandex is I think I mentioned this in some previous videos, but Yandex is the Russian, big Russian tech conglomerate, like Google or Amazon. And they have a lot of different services, including search engine and stuff like that, but they also have a ride hailing and food delivery app. It's called Yandex Go. And right here, this is the Hotel National. So like I mentioned, we're pretty close to the Hotel National, the hotel that we showed in our previous video about politics and the election. So right here, and if you continue on down that way, down the street, past, there's another traffic circle a couple blocks down, and then just past that is where the train station is actually. So you're actually walking distance to the train station if you want to take a train outside of Chișinău. If you want to take a train whether in Moldova or maybe out into a neighboring country. But let's keep going this way. So we head down this way. We can loop back around towards where we started by the apartment, and we can actually swing by the closest supermarket, the supermarket where I've been doing my shopping, because it's actually quite nice. It's one of the best supermarkets that I have had in any of the neighborhoods where I've been staying, as far as just the amount of stuff it has and the quality of the stuff. It's been very, very nice. It's an NR1 supermarket, which is a supermarket chain. I guess it's a hypermarket chain, very large supermarkets here in Chișinău. They're all over the city, and we just happen to have one that's really close. The good thing about it also is it's in a shopping center that has other stuff in there as well. Cafes, restaurants, and also a pharmacy. So you have a supermarket and a pharmacy right next to each other, right in the shopping center that's really just like 2 blocks away from the apartment. Very, very nice. Another major street here with bus lines on it. Beautiful cathedral across the street. And there is the classic sound in the background of Chișinău, Moldova. One thing, I think, just based on where the apartment is located, because of its central location and location very close to major routes, even though the apartment is set back in like a lot, so it's not directly facing a major street. It is kind of loud, the sirens. I have like heard more sirens here more consistently in Chișinău. There goes another one. More consistently than really in any of the other cities that I have visited, honestly. A lot of sirens. Which, as someone who has lived in a city, like for a long time, I've lived in cities, so I'm very like familiar with it. It doesn't really bother me anymore. I can pretty easily sleep right through it, and I do. But if you're coming to visit and you're deciding to stay in this neighborhood, just know one of the things about it is I've heard a lot of sirens. And of course, the funniest thing is when a siren goes by, all the neighborhood dogs, starting, I think, with the ones in the neighboring apartment, they all start howling. And then when they start howling, other dogs in the neighborhood start howling. And then it becomes a giant howl fest that continues on long after the sirens have receded. But if that, honestly, is the only downside to this this neighborhood, and it really honestly is the only downside to this neighborhood, I've quite liked staying in this neighborhood, in this apartment, then I'm willing to put up with that, because it's not really that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, one more block down and we will be at the shopping center with the supermarket. Now, another thing I've noticed in this neighborhood, there are nearby a few, well, more than a few, I've noticed like 5 or 6 different hotels, which is nice. There's one actually right here coming up on the corner, and that's nice if you're coming for maybe a shorter stay. You're not going to do a short-term rental, and you're going to actually stay in a hotel. It's nice because there are a few in this area. There's this one, there's another one that's like a block away from the apartment, and then there are a few more in the direction, or like in the area back that way, the area around by the Hotel National. Obviously not the Hotel National itself, but also if you were to head west towards the center, towards like the Great National Assembly Square, there'd be more on the way in that direction as well. So pretty easy in this part of town to find a hotel to stay if you want to rent a room for just like a short amount of time. Cut through the parking lot here, and right in front of us, that large apartment building with the shopping center on the ground floor, that is the shopping center I was talking about. That has the NR1 right there, and the Felicia Pharmacy, as well as a bunch of other stuff. There's a pizza place in there. There's a coffee joint in there, and like a bookstore if you want to grab like a book and practice your Romanian, I guess. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's very close to the apartment. We're actually at this point about 2 blocks away from the apartment where we started the video, so definitely a very easy walk to get to the supermarket to do your shopping. there goes one of the buses. That's one of the non-trolley buses. They do have non-trolley buses here as well. That's just like our regular old diesel bus, but it's it's articulated, so it's extra large. It's quite nice. There is also here on the corner, I did not partake in the services because I didn't need to, but there is a barber shop here, which is nice. You need a haircut, you got a spot right here, very close. I like having neighborhoods where everything is very close, you know? And this right here is a bus stop right here. So the bus actually stops quite close. Our apartment is just around the corner to the right on this next block. So quite close. Also more garbage cans on this street. It's quite nice. There are garbage and recycling collection points as we hear another siren coming by. There's garbage and recycling collection points. Garbage and recycling collection points pretty much on every block. I've been able to find them all over the place, which is good, especially when you're staying in an apartment, something like that. Sometimes a little, I've noticed from my experience on this trip, a little like confusing as what you're supposed to do with the garbage. But here, not confusing at all in this neighborhood. So, as we get closer to the apartment, back to the beginning of the video, it's time to wrap up this video. And I would say I really enjoyed this neighborhood, actually. Location-wise, top. Amenities and things that are in walkable distance, top. And even though there are a little bit of traffic noise and sirens that are relatively constant in this neighborhood, it didn't bother me enough for me to say that I don't like this neighborhood. I definitely do like this neighborhood, and I would stay here again 100% if I had the chance. If I ever come back to Chișinău to visit again, which I gotta be honest, I've really enjoyed Chișinău, and I think I would come back here in the future to visit again. I think it's a real sort of hidden gem in Eastern Europe, like a hidden gem that a lot of people don't think about visiting and don't visit very often. And I think that's a shame because it's a really, really nice city. Like I've enjoyed my stay here quite a bit. But I think that's going to be it for the video. Normally this would be the last video from a city, the video touring around the neighborhood, but it's a little bit different here because we're actually going to be heading out of Chișinău actually later today, and we're doing it in a very interesting way. I won't leave you in suspense. We're taking another sleeper train, an overnight train, just like we did when we went from Georgia to Armenia, which was a really cool experience, and I'm excited to be doing it again because the train that we're taking from here to Bucharest in Romania, this is a really cool train. It's a train that is like, it's an old Soviet era train. The train carriages are like old Soviet era train carriages. So it's a very, I don't know, it has a very cool vibe as far as I can tell. And I'm really excited to be doing it. So that's going to be the next video. Stay tuned for that, and see you in the next one.